We'll kick it up a little bit. All right, hey, we'll wait for Nancy to come on. And hey, everybody seems to be here. Welcome to our third rendition of Metal Detecting Nation. We have a couple really cool guests here. Before we get started, just want to let everyone know that if you want to be on the stream, please let us know at some point in time. Email one of us, all of us, and we'll send a link to you. You can get up on the stream and be more than happy to ask Stan and Nancy some questions live. Just a disclaimer, we are not know-it-alls. We just love talking about our hobby. We love talking about our community. And so how's everybody doing? Dave, you're muted, so you got to unmute here. And how's everybody doing tonight?
Excellent.
Sir.
Doing great, thanks.
Anybody get out this week?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Stan's laughing. Stan's like, yeah, I got out. I definitely got out.
Doesn't matter if it's rain or snow. I'm going.
Yeah, I have an interesting video to share about you before we get to some questions. But Audra, Rachel, did you find anything this weekend? Well, actually, you said in the pre-show you found something.
Go ahead, yeah.
Well, we didn't go out this weekend.
But we found it, well, it was close to the weekend.
Yeah, we went out one day during the week.
Yeah, Rachel had to work on our digging day. So we could show you real quick if you like. Couple
Let's
relics.
see.
Interesting relics. Give me one sec.
I'm liking the Santa hat, Dave.
My grandkid's favorite hat.
Oh, I love it. It's great.
Oh, wow.
So that's a license plate tag. We found the license plate and then we found that not too far away from it.
Oh, wow.
Which was odd. And then we found this old plumb bob. Rachel found that.
That's great. Very cool.
Nice.
Love that old stuff. So
How
Yeah.
old, the one before that, how old do you think that is? The one before the...
I think it's from maybe the 40s,
It could be anywhere from the
50s.
10s to the 40s,
Yeah.
because that's when they used the little badge.
The license plate itself was the longer kind and white and rust. But
Was it a foreman plate?
it was smooth. I couldn't make out anything on the license plate itself. But that was it. We didn't get out much. Like I said, Rachel had to work on our digging day. So that was it for us.
Very cool. I'll share a little something once you guys unshare. Actually,
I'm trying to find the screen. It's too many screens. There we go.
All right. So let me see if I could share real quick something. So I actually went out and let me preface this. I went out. It was really cold. Now, really cold is relevant to where you're at, right? Because people who are digging in Florida are like shivering at 45 degrees when we're begging for it. And then Stan and Nancy, they're digging in what 15 to 20 degrees, and so it's relevant, right? But I actually found on the way back, isn't it cool? Like walking back to my vehicle, I actually found this.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
And
wow. That's
yeah, yeah, it came up at.
very nice.
I'm using the Equinox 800. It came up as exactly as a quarter, and it does say 925 in there. So I was really really excited about that. I hadn't found a ring in a very long time, and so I was like, it was worth it. But it was like I was great. Right before I went to detect it, I got like I had my long underwear on. I layered up, and I had my hat on, and I got in,
Yep.
and it's like, oh, I'm going to be able to be out here for hours. And then all of a sudden, I get in, and the ground is wet, and the wind is blowing, and as soon as my hands got wet, it was over.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's the way it was. But
It's the wind that gets you.
absolutely, absolutely. Oh, so we have North Jersey Detector in the chat. We have Mark from the Bird Hunter, Metal Pirate Girl. We have
Hey, guys.
Don, Detection Connection, Research, Treasure Hunting, and Poor Research. I am so sorry I wasn't able
Risers.
to. You guys,
And risers.
Risers.
Sorry. It's the accent here in Norwalk, Ohio. No, I'm just kidding. I wasn't able to get on your stream last night. Hoping it went well. But all right, well,
I was there last night.
Oh yeah,
Good stream.
let's introduce our guests. I have another. Let me share with you guys really quick. Stan, this is Stan, and this is kind of interesting for people who are watching. Stan, this is you, right?
Hey, yeah, that's me.
And look at that.
Yeah, I went out in a blizzard.
Yeah, so I just felt I wanted to share that. And Nancy, I'm pretty confident you go out in that weather too. So I'd like to welcome Stan from Admonish the Metal and Nancy from Ambient Girl Metal Detecting here. And
Thank you.
thanks for joining in. I'm really so appreciative
Great
that
to
you
be
guys
here.
did.
Mhm.
Awesome. So who's interviewing them tonight? Who's going?
Hey, I got some questions. You got some
Ladies
questions.
are.
We're ready.
Hot seat. You guys are on the hot seat. Go.
Oh, no.
All right. So let's start. We'll ask a question, and then we'll start with Ambient, and then Stan, if you guys want to both answer, that'd be awesome. But when did you guys get into detecting, and what got you into it? And then after that, what got you into YouTubing?
Ladies
Start with
first.
me. Thanks.
Yeah.
I've always been interested in metal detecting, but I've never done it. Just one of those things I always said, I want to do it. Never did it. My family has heard me talk about it before. And last Christmas, they went out and got me a metal detector. And that was it. The day after Christmas, I was out in the woods and didn't stop.
We're so glad they did, because you are awesome to have a part of this.
Thank you.
community. And we love
Thank you very much.
getting in the chats with you, and you're always there, giving good words,
Thanks.
giving good comments, and having great stories. So we're very happy that happened.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Like I said, when I started, I really didn't know where to turn to. It was kind of like YouTube seems to be the place to find any information, that and Google. So I ended up looking at some videos and watching people, and it was like, okay, I'm learning. And come February, March, I ended up joining the club. But I've gotten so much more out of the community here on YouTube. You guys are fabulous. Absolutely, like family. You're family to me.
It is. It's a big community family, and
Mhm.
I'm so happy you're a part of it. So
Thank you.
great. All right, Stan, how about
Um,
you?
I started watching videos. I don't know if you've ever seen him before, but it's Metal Detecting 24. He's in Germany.
Yeah.
Oh, we love him.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's great, and I love how I just it's so peaceful that he doesn't talk, and he'll subtitle his videos. So I'm like, huh, this looks like fun. At that time, my channel was all about video games, and I was sitting around, I was playing video games, I was working, I was like, I need to get out of the house. I need to do something different. So I was watching him, and I was like, I could do this, and I bought a bounty hunter detector.
Hey,
And
that's what I started with.
Us too.
Yeah.
I think it was 1100, and I found a few things, but they didn't really have the depth that our current machines do. So yeah, I started doing it, and I started recording, and I've over the years I've evolved to where I am now, and it's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool.
How fast, how fast after your bounty hunter did you figure on that you were going to need a different kind of detector? Was it less than a year, or did you give the bounty hunter a year?
I'm pretty sure it was less than a year. I wasn't really finding a lot of stuff, and it was never that deep. And I'm like, huh. So I bought an AT Pro, and just started taking off from there.
What about you, Nancy? Same thing?
2 weeks.
Oh my
Two-
goodness.
He's less patient than I am.
Literally, I was like, that's it. I want something more. I want something. I mean,
What'd you get?
I got an AT Max.
Cool. Excellent.
So, and that kept me out in the woods, which was great.
You're speaking the JHH language right
That's
there.
right. So
The
what
woods are
do
my
you
happy
guys
place.
prefer? Is that your favorite? The woods?
The woods.
Yeah,
Definitely the woods. It's my happy place.
Mhm.
it is ours too.
Yeah, we feel exposed when we're not in the woods.
No,
I
we
get
still
you.
have our bounty hunters, and we use them from time to time. Like if I go to the bay, it's like a lot of metal, and the bounty hunter it does the job there. I enjoy it there on the beach.
Yeah.
And what about you, Stan? Where's your favorite? Do you like the woods, the park?
I was such a beach hunter for such a long time.
You know? We watch your
and-
videos.
And then I bumped into Johnny, not right Johnny, metal detecting junkie on the beach, and we started hunting together. And he's like, "Let's go to the woods. Let's do some cellar holes." And I was like, "Okay, it's not my element, but let's do it." And I'm happy that he did, because he showed me a whole other side of it. I mean, I had been to parks with grass before and stuff, but cellar holes, I think cellar holes are my favorite now, except maybe for this time of year, because I'm going to have to go to the beach pretty soon. It's just way too frozen up here. But yeah, anywhere I can get out and be in nature and detect, I'm happy.
It's the key. That's totally the key, in my opinion.
Yep.
It's finding things is just a result of being happy, swinging, and breathing fresh air, and getting healthy. I agree, 100%.
Mhm.
It's awesome.
Mhm.
All right.
And then what are your guys' favorite type of finds? Like, are you into the relics or the coins or a combination?
I'm all about the relics.
Right on.
I haven't been too lucky with the coins yet, and I'm sure as I find more coins, I will enjoy that. But I'm all about seeing what's in the ground, what I find, and then doing the history of see what it is. Even if it's just a piece of iron. I live on an old railroad beds. So there was a train track that ran here back in the 1800s for only like 40 years,
Oh,
and then they shut it down. because they opened up another line. So there's a lot of iron back here. There's a lot of things that's railroad related, but I still don't know what it is when I pulled it out. So I like doing the searching.
That's a lot of fun.
It is. I really do. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, awesome. And Stan, what about you?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
What are your favorite types of finds, like the
Types of
relics or the
finds.
coins or?
It depends on the environment. Like that one beach that I was hunting all every day 2 years ago during the wintertime, I was pulling coins. I was pulling shield nickels. I was pulling mercury dimes, Indian heads. I was pieces of gold, pieces of silver.
Ooh.
Nice.
I got my first barber half. I got a lot of firsts there. I got barber half and barber dime. But I mean, that was a good spot. But I do love the cellar holes in the cornfields for the buttons and for the like pulled a World War One medal out of a cellar hole.
Wow, that's amazing.
From 1917. It was a French Wounded Fund medal. The U.S. put them out to commemorate our involvement in the war and to raise money for European hospitals. So that's like, I never thought I would find anything like that, you know?
That's amazing.
Hey, I have a question, a couple questions from the chat. Might as well chime in here. Mark the Bird Hunter said, what is or was the panelists' favorite find of this year? So Dave, favorite find?
Oh gosh. This year. It had to be a large scent next door. Right next door at my neighbor's house, they tore the driveway out and went over there and swung my metal detector, and lo and behold, I found a large scent.
Wow.
Audra, Rachel?
Well, I know everybody's going to assume at this point that I would say the gun. That's probably second. My first actually is a twofer. Audra was on a dry spell for a while for half reals, and she finally found one a couple weeks ago.
Finally again.
So that was pretty
Nice.
cool. And I found a 1 real this year. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
that was my first 1 real.
I think one of mine was when Rachel found her bucket lister, fully intact skeleton key. Because Rachel don't get that excited over finds too often. And when she got that excited, it was awesome.
That's a good find.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. And then for me, mine would be the German gun and the bayonet.
Two awesome fun.
Stan, what about you?
I'm going to be super cheesy and say it's the friends that I met along the way.
That's not cheesy.
That's not.
Absolutely above all
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about you, Nance?
Well, I still have 13 days left of the year, so.
Good point.
No, I think probably my best find was my first coin. I found a largie the first time that I met Stan, Johnny, Rebecca, and James. We went out into the woods, and I found my first largie, and I was like, that's it.
That's awesome.
That's cool. I think so. My story is that I gave up detecting for a number of reasons for about 2.5, 3 years, and I came back like with a vengeance. You know, like I stormed back, and I found very quickly with my Equinox some very cool coins. I found a seated dime, 1870 something, and then I found my first barber half. And that was my favorite for the year. So,
Congratulations, everybody.
yeah, same to you. One more question. We have another question from Greg Anthony Harris. Have any of us seen the UK TV show Detectorists? And what do you guys all think of it? I mean, I have, and I think it's a riot. It's a hoot. So, anybody else have seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I've watched
haven't.
like an episode. I'm so busy watching YouTube sometimes I forget to watch TV.
I used to watch it. I thought it was a trip. It was a lot of fun. Made me laugh. I loved it.
Not yet. I do have it to watch, but not yet.
I saw a clip where he tasted a pull tab and was able to date it. I thought it was hilarious.
Very, very cool.
I chime in with a tangible find.
Yeah.
My favorite. See if you can see this. This
Oh, yeah.
Crotal bell. It's got the whole drilled
Nice.
top on it, and it has an A on it for Admonish.
Oh,
Very
and
nice.
it, wow.
Just saying.
That
This is probably my favorite.
that's
Yeah.
an awesome
Beautiful.
find. That's a great find.
You know, Nancy was talking about finding her first largie. You know, when Audra found the gun, this is how unexcited I got. When she found the gun, I found my first largie next to it. I was like, oh, it's a largie.
But any other time, we're like, oh my God, it's a largie. We love them. They're awesome.
They really are.
They're amazing.
So for people in the chat, if you're still in the chat and you are a detectorist, because I know we have some people who aren't, why don't you list your favorite find of 2019? I'd be interested to see what you guys have all found. So where's the furthest place, Nancy and Stan, where's the furthest place you guys have traveled to go metal detecting?
I've pretty much stayed in New Hampshire. When I used to go by myself, I'm surrounded where I live. I'm surrounded by woods. So I used to explore all the woods around where I live. But then I met the crew. I met Johnny and Stan and Rebecca and James, and we go all over the place.
It's a great area. Boy, what history is over
True.
there. Stan?
Well, James, Johnny, Rebecca, and I traveled to Connecticut to meet up with Bill Ladd and dig that.
On the button.
Yeah, the button. What was it called? The shoddy mill. All the buttons. Man, we just pinpoint her and digging all for 8 hours. Yeah, I couldn't believe how many buttons they pulled out of there. It was crazy.
It's awesome.
So Connecticut was the furthest so far.
So Don says that his best of 2019 was a 1772 1 real, which is crazy.
Wow.
Sailor Steve, 18 karat gold female wedding band.
Nice find.
That's awesome.
A
And
real is still on my bucket list.
same with me. Same with me, Stan. So is a Crotobel as well. Still on my bucket list.
That's on mine too.
Me too.
Should I rub it in with a smaller one?
No.
This one rings better.
It's not fair. All I find is oxen shoes everywhere. Why can't I find a bell? There has to be.
You will. Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's not fair.
It's the season, right? Metal Pirate Girl said I went to Nova Scotia to dig 1,000 pull tabs. Wow.
Just the experience alone of going to Nova Scotia, I would dig 1,000 pull tabs.
Yep.
We got 1,000 here. You can come here and dig them too.
Too.
We have them here too.
From each decade of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. We got them.
Uh-huh.
Take
Well,
them
a
away.
little break in the action. I want to share a video that Deej sent me, or actually I pulled off her, I copied with permission. She actually found a pretty cool find. I'll let you see.
It's in this clump. Largie! I'm just going to get the excess off the lots and still leave a coating on it. Got a largie.
So she was actually in my neck of the woods over here in the Firelands area of Ohio with Don, and found that Don is kind of the research guru for all these old places. But yeah, it was cool. A lot of people. It's interesting too when you start talking about metal detecting, and the regions really are important for what you find. And I know you guys will know that, but so we find large scents a lot in the field. And when you talk to people who are down south or out west, it's very rare to find a large scent. And, you know, they want to take trips up just to find one.
Wow. So, Metal Pirate Girl is in here. I'm wondering what her favorite find is. We should have her on here.
Yeah.
Mhm. Definitely.
She's awesome too.
So
Yeah, she
Nancy,
is.
Stan, I do have a question. We covered what your favorite types to find and your detectors and why you started. But what's your all-time favorite? Not just 2019, but since you started, all-time favorite find that you found?
You said Stan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My connection's not very good. All-time favorite. I was heading to my beach in the wintertime that I hunted every day. And as I was driving by another, I saw that the sand had been stripped away and there was hardpack and rocks. And I was like, okay, I'll stop here. I still had my AT Pro, and didn't take me very long at all. I met this woman, Brenda. She's a riot. You might have seen her on my videos. And I pulled a 14 karat gold wedding band, men's wedding band. And I was so excited. I was like, Brenda, come here. And she came over. It was heavy. And then after she left, I pulled a 14 karat woman's gold ring with an amethyst in it. And I think it was close to 10 grams of gold for that day. That was not my favorite find, but my favorite hunt, I guess.
It's exciting.
If you will. I never pulled gold, and that day I pulled 2 rings. I was so happy.
Wow. Congrats on that. That was a
Thank
great
you.
day.
It was.
I haven't found gold yet either. What about you, Nancy?
Actually, one of my favorite finds isn't even metal at all. It's I found it in my own backyard when I was out digging, and I found a clay pipe.
Oh.
And so I've got a clay pipe, the bowl of it, and a little bit of stem, and then I got a bunch of other stems that go to other clay pipes, but I haven't found the rest of the bowls for that.
Wow.
And I love personal things to find something, you know, like buttons, because everybody valued what they had back then. And I mean, especially like a clay pipe, that was their thing. And I figured it was probably somebody building the railroad tracks when they were putting the railroad in 1800s, smoking the pipe. It's the stories that you create with the finds.
That's exactly it. And we make stories to a lot of our finds.
Yes.
Especially like when they make things out of other things, like if they make game pieces out of bullets, or they make buttons out of coins, you know, it's just such a personal, historic item. It just makes it that much cooler.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm always thinking like, and I know that everyone thinks this, but like who was that person back in the late 1800s that was carrying around the barber haft that I found? And what were they doing, and what could that barber haft buy back in 1880, and all of the things that go along with, you know, how did they lose it, and what were they doing, and you know, did they really miss that 50-cent piece? You know, just this, you're right, the stories about the people, the time that they lived, when we're finding things that they were using on a regular basis, especially out in the fields, all the relics that you guys find, that was part of their tools, and now they're worth maybe not a lot of money, but they are worth a lot to us as we find history. That's what it's about, really, saving history.
Mm-hmm.
I always think about the person that wore the coat to the buttons that we find.
Yeah. Huh. Crazy. So what about research? Do you guys do research for different areas to see where you're going to go? Or do you just say, oh, this looks good, I want to go there?
Nancy.
I'm learning quite a bit about research. I've been doing genealogy for 13, 15 years. So I've always been about history. I love history and connections. So now that I'm metal detecting, I find myself constantly looking for the old maps, Googling the old stories, trying to find the town little books about the history of the areas that I'm in. And then when I get word that we're going out digging with the crew, like Johnny has some amazing places, and if he says the name of the town, before we go out that weekend, I'll start Googling that information, the town, trying to find a little bit of the history of what went on during that area, what their life was like in that area.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a puzzle. You just keep putting the pieces together to see what you can find, and then hopefully find a little bit of history.
That's right. It's an adventure from start to finish. And before you go detecting, research, detecting, after detecting, cleaning, more research, sharing, on social media, it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's like I find it when I find something and you start to do the research for it, it's relearning history again. That's what I keep saying to myself. I'm relearning history all over from a whole different side of it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I find it interesting. I don't know about anyone else who makes videos on YouTube, because we're certainly not going to get it. Well, I'm not making any money, but we're not getting rich.
We're not.
I'm doing it more as a documentation of my hobby that I love and what I find. And I can only imagine that when we're all gone, hopefully YouTube saves all their videos, that my grandchildren can see what an awesome hobby, being out in fresh air, not being on any devices when we're doing this.
Yeah.
The only technology is obviously using that detector and finding history. I think it'd be really cool for my grandchildren to go, hey, look at that, And that's why I put together all my videos. And if you look back on my videos, like when I first started in 2009, my daughter was going with me, and she was this little thing, and we were
Nice.
just having a good time. And so it's more for me about documentation as well, than becoming a famous YouTuber. It's a joke, right? But yeah, but our community, and so doing this stream, this is about our community and supporting and loving and just really being a part of it. And that's why I think this is great.
So that's one of the biggest things is like when I would kept watching these videos and I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. I mean, I was finding things and I think my family was probably getting tired of me going, look what I found. And it wasn't anything big or anything, but I was excited about it. And I just wanted an outlet to share it, which is so not my nature to be like in front of a camera. I'm usually behind the camera.
Right.
So it's been a great experience. And like I said, that one of the best things is this community. I've met some amazing people through it.
Yeah.
It's not my nature to be behind the camera either. I actually do talk.
Not much. We wish you talked more.
No, I mean, without the camera. I do actually talk a lot.
More in person?
Yeah.
It's funny because we're like total opposites outside of the camera. Like I talk more in our videos and on here and all this, and Rachel doesn't. But outside of this, I'm quiet and she's chatty Cathy. She never stops.
Oh, that's me. I talk too much. My husband's always yelling at me because I'll just talk to strangers. I'll talk to anybody.
I call strangers, like when you're in a supermarket, I call them line friends. If I'm in line, it's a long line, I make friends while I'm in line.
Has a lot of friends.
Yeah.
I do. But in a way, Nancy being a chatty Cathy is probably good in what we do, because if you're comfortable to talking to people you don't really know, you're going to be comfortable to make these connections. You know, like we don't go to doors that often. We just make connections with people who lead us to people who, you know.
Which just happened last week. Now we're got in contact some lady from where?
The Audubon
The
Society.
Audubon Society called us to help
Oh, nice.
try and save a farm not far from us. So we're gonna try.
And now we have explicit permission to hunt on the preserve also.
Yeah,
Sweet.
Nice connection.
yeah, say that.
Metal Pirate Girl had a question. She said, do you all restore your relics, and what method do you use?
So what do you guys do, Stan and Nancy?
For what?
He's quiet tonight.
Want me to take this one?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, a lot of people are probably gonna unsub me, but I tumble a lot of what I find. If it's not a silver coin, it's going into tumbler. The Crodal bells, the metal, the button that I found on Sunday, they went in the tumbler and they came out beautiful. I mean, yeah. How do you share on here? Do you just click share?
Yeah, click share, and then whatever's on your screen will be able to come up.
Oh, whatever is on the screen. Okay, I
So
get you.
if you click the actual picture and have it come up, go
Okay.
back to the window of Zoom, and then on the middle bottom you can click share and select it.
Gotcha.
That's what I want to share.
I have a lot of pictures. They're loading. Bear with me.
Oh
Talk
no, that's
amongst
fine. That's
yourselves.
great. I'll just say I wouldn't give you any issues for how you take care of what you find. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm not selling the things that I find. So if I tumble something or if I rub it as I'm cleaning it, I know that like a lot of people like freak out if it's a silver coin, and I have to be 100% honest. I am not selling that coin. Now I will say if it's like a key date, then maybe and get a new detector. But you get it, right? Like
We're the same way.
yeah, I'm not all about wanting to make money off of what I find. For me personally, if you do, that's great, but for me, I'm along the same lines as you, Stan. I just want to clean it.
Yeah.
Well, relics and stuff I hold on to, but the scrap gold doesn't fit my finger. I've brought that in for cash because what am I going to do with it? It's like, So yeah, I've gotten a lot of money from gold and silver that I had no use for, but relics, they're staying. I don't get rid of those. I'm gonna try this share thing now here, if I can. Oh, what happened? Am I still there?
You are.
While he's looking, I just like to clean them up, find out what they are, and I keep a hold of them. I don't usually get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Or I give it away to somebody.
Right. Like, here we go. Good. All right.
All right,
There we
you're
go.
You're
Yep.
seeing the back
That's
of the
perfect.
button.
Yep.
Okay, this was found on top of a hill. When I parked my car, I was at 826 feet above sea level. When I got to the top of the hill, I was at 1175. So I hiked for this one. And there's the front.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It rang up higher than any button I've ever found. I think it's made of bronze. I was getting a 32, 33 on the Equinox 600. I've never gotten a button that rang up so high before.
That is beautiful. It's got amazing detail on it.
Let's see if I can skip ahead here. This was a shot coin that I found the same day as the button.
Awesome.
It's British, probably from the 50s. It's a George VI copper coin, and the round is still inside of it.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Wow.
That's
kind of a
awesome.
unique find.
Somebody has a good shot.
Somebody didn't
They
get
must
it.
have been. They must have been point blank on that thing.
Penny back then was like $10 today.
And geez, I don't know where I'm going here.
Oh,
there's
up
another
top
picture
there
of it.
should be a stop if whenever you want to stop sharing.
Oh, yep, I see it. I'm just trying to find that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a lot of pictures between here and there. I'll stop sharing.
Oh, that's neat. Now, this was one of your last videos, right, Stan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
From-
saw you
from-
hiking all the way up and got to that wall, the big wall there, and then you were walking
Yeah.
on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? Yeah.
That's the one.
That's
yeah.
the one you got a good workout on.
Oh, I sure did. I'm still sore.
How
I
often, Stan? How often do you go detecting? Same with you, Nancy. How often maybe your goal is to? And I know weather permitting, right? But how often do you guys get a chance to go out during the week?
Since I've started digging with Stan and the crew, it's been pretty much every Saturday. I missed last week. But yeah, it's been pretty much every weekend.
Every Saturday, sometimes Sunday, like this past weekend. Are you seeing this button here?
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Johnny brought us to a derelict motel the weekend before, the one that Nancy missed. And I ended up pulling this dandy. But what I can't figure out is this is a fancy side, and that looks like a shank. But when you look at the back, there's no shank, or there's a little pair of it. I'm not sure what's going on with this one. It is pretty fancy though, and it's definitely a dandy.
That's one of the strangest buttons I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's different,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Is it like a snap button?
I don't think so. I mean, that would still put the fancy design down.
Yeah. True.
And let's see. I found this token.
Fun.
Fun spot.
Very cool.
2006. It's very rare.
It's a jippa.
And I found a weedy that day as well, and a bunch of modern coins. But it was raining, man. And Johnny lent me some rain pants, which were mostly good, except there was a hole in it. I stayed mostly dry, and we had fun, so that's what counts.
Yeah, that's it.
So Ill Digger is in the house, likes your Christmas tree, Nancy.
Thank you.
Hey, Yale Digger.
Donnie says that he has a large scent with bullets still in it as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I mean they're out there totally, but I've never found anything like that. Of course, Donnie finds it. No, I'm just kidding, Don.
Yeah.
I don't remember what we found. What was it, a nickel?
What?
What we found when we were going to those one woods that was shot.
Yeah, it was a buffalo.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
It was shot like that. It was cool.
I found a
I like
Jeff.
when stuff stuck in the tree and you gotta chop open the dead branches on the ground, but they're ringing up. And you pull the bullets out. One time I did that and pulled a penny out. Like, how'd that happen?
Huh.
So I have a question for you guys, and it's going to lead to a story. Maybe I'll share the story. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Well, I probably can't pull up the actual story because it's on my other computer. I'll paraphrase it. I don't know if anybody's seen, but recently in Windsor, Canada, they just allowed the metal detectors back on park property. City-owned park property. They had made it, I guess, illegal to go and detect, and so they fought it, and they, I guess, won. One of the stipulations for getting to be on land in Windsor at their city parks, which is interesting, is that they need a permit, but they need insurance or a hold harmless clause, which is bizarre because you think about, and their argument was, you think about all the individuals and what they do at and in a park, from
Mm.
skateboarding to, I don't know, you name it. And there's no such insurance issues, but yet metal detecting there is. What leads to my question, does anybody see any things happening within our hobby, restrictions that are going on within any of your cities or close to your cities, or anything you've read? And what are your thoughts about that?
Well, in our area, they recently banned one certain area where we usually go. So not the whole area, just a section of it.
Yeah,
Was
the
there-
section we were going to.
Was there?
Do you know why they? Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
No, I was just asking her why. Do you know why?
I actually ran into a park ranger and asked him about it. He wasn't entirely sure, but it's part of during World War II, they used the army used it, this area,
Yeah.
and as part of the battery. And I guess, because people do go toward the battery, we go into the woods, but it's that section that they just made a no-no area this year.
We had found some World War II relics from there, like U.S. lapel pins and things like that. But
And we had just discovered home sites.
yeah, so we're
Found a
pretty
well and-
disappointed.
An old road. So yeah, a little disappointed, but we every year we're New Jersey state parks are off limits, unlike Connecticut. But some of our county park systems allow it, but most don't. And we're lucky where we live; they allow it. But every year we have to check the updates on the no-no areas.
They're getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a story about that? No?
Well, the rules, I read the laws for New Hampshire when I first started detecting, and they state that historic areas, anything that's on the National Registry of Historic Places is off limits. I understand that. Luckily, one of the covered bridges I went to had burned down and was rebuilt and was taken off that list. So I went over there and I checked it out. We all abide by the rules because we're ethical and we don't want to ruin it for everyone else. So yeah,
That's a good point. That makes a huge difference to how we look out in public, maybe to councils, city, local governments. We definitely want to be ethical. New Jersey detector, you probably saw, said you can get a permit in New Jersey for parks, but only can go to beaches. And that is the exact same rule in Ohio for state parks. You can get like the ranger to give you permission for state parks, but you can only go to the beach and detect. So the same thing there. Question from it's Riser, correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
All right, I got it.
Charlie.
Charlie.
How do you folks? And I would assume this means maybe anyone who digs in the frozen tundra prepare for cold. What do you guys wear?
Me.
What do you guys wear?
Nancy. Go ahead, Nancy.
What? You can tell me what I wear? Lots of layers.
So we all do. I'm
You
sure.
start with those long johns and just layer it on.
Yeah.
But once you start moving around, you start getting warm, so you don't notice it as much.
Mhm. That's true.
Stan's definitely. You're wearing that mask, aren't you?
I wear the mask I wore the mask when it was -14 with a wind chill, and I was hoping my AT Pro was going to work for me, and it did. It worked. But yeah, I'm socks, underwear, Under Armour, fleece lined pants. I've got a fleece top on, I've got a jacket on, I've got a hat on, I've got the mask. If it really stinks to get sandblasted on the beach when it's windy and cold. So yeah, the mask that comes out when I need it.
Looks cool too.
It is. It's the wind that's the worst. I don't mind the cold temperature. It's just when the wind hits you.
Mhm.
It's painful.
So I posted the link to join us if anybody wants to join us on this Zoom. We have about 10 more minutes here live. If you want to jump in on the after party, as you would say, be more than happy to have you. Seems like there's about 20 people still left in chat watching us, which is great. Click that Zoom link and join us after. Just share your stories and we can sit and chit chat if you want. So go ahead and do that. Don't be afraid. It's not bad, right, Nancy?
Nope, I did it.
It's a
I'm
little
proud of
upsetting,
you,
but
Nancy.
Stan
Thank
was
you.
talking about his mask detecting because of the cold wind. We get wind here too. One of the places where I deliver mail is kind of mountainy. So I ordered my new work hat and it actually has a mask on it. But I was afraid people will be afraid of me if I'm delivering the mails and all I can see is just like everything else is covered and all there, it looks like a burglar mask.
Want
I'm
to see a
surprised they
video?
make it for us.
Video, Rachel.
Yeah.
You got that big smile. Did you ever see those with the big smile, clown smile? Scaring everybody, Rachel.
No, I don't think they approved that. I was surprised they approved this one because the only opening is like just around your eyes and that's it.
Yeah, that's a good point. All metal mic, and I see this too. Oh, here we go, Steve.
Here comes Admonish.
Here we go. I could see that intimidating several people as you're moving up and down on the beach.
You don't think I should wear this on the beach?
I don't think we should wear something like that in the woods either.
I'll
No,
bring
no.
the bail money, okay? I'll have bail money.
Nancy to the rescue.
Yep. You got to have a crew, right, Nancy?
That's right.
You got to have each other's back. So All Metal Mike says that he finds wireless headphones are very warm in the winter. I guess that's true. Covering your ears, that does make a difference. I know there are some people who wear the earbuds and they hook them into a modulator that goes to the detector, the Bluetooth stuff. And I've never really tried that, but because these really do a good job. You can't see them, but they do a good job of keeping my ears warm. So I'll stick to it for now, for sure. What else? Anybody else in the chat have a question? We'd be more than happy to ask these two amazing New Hampshire people.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's great. It's great because we're reaching out to different areas with different finds, different terrains for sure. And I know I've learned a lot already about just the stuff that you guys find over in New Hampshire is way different. I mean, I wish that I were on a beach because I think that it would be fun to look for jewelry, rings, that kind of stuff. A lot of people are very successful finding rings in the sand, waiting for the big storms. And I think last week in the after show, Stan, you were talking about waiting for a huge storm to hit, and you're going to be there no matter what the weather is because it just uncovers a ton of stuff that's just left over on the beach. So we don't have that obviously here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What is going on?
We started on beaches here, and we have a lot of beaches in our area. The Bay Beach by us, we actually get a lot of relics and coins. The ocean beaches, we get the jewelry.
So anybody have a backup detector? What it is? Have you used it? I know that the simplex is really making waves in I guess as a primary detector as well. But is anyone looking at getting a kind of a backup detector? Because I keep looking at the simplex, and
We just ordered them.
Did you really? You ordered them?
Last night.
That's cool.
Anybody else looking at, or do you have a backup detector that you guys use?
We have a Knox 600.
And about 5 bounty hunters.
Right, but you're going to use for the Girl Scouts, you said, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Right.
I have my pinpointer.
Hey, that's good to have.
That's all I have.
I just have my Knox 600 since I got rid of the AT Pro, but I'm not worried about it. If it goes down, like there's a local coin shop I could buy whites from if I had to in a pinch.
Very, very good. Very good. I'm just looking to see if there's any other things to share. Actually, I would like to share something if that's okay. Speaking of ethics and speaking of goodwill and all that other kind of stuff, I want to share with you a recent return that took place. I found in the news. And this is a ring that was lost for 30 plus years. And here's the story. Found it. Where did I find that story? Found it. I don't know. I have some kind of alarm, but after 34 years, we have another return, which is really cool. And this is a honker of a ring. Let me go ahead and share that ring. It is a beautiful ring, and I don't know if you guys can see that there.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And just this is what, again, it's all about. I know that we all like to find our ring and like our gold or our jewelry, and it's nice to keep and or melt down and get some money for it. But I will be honest, at any time, if there's a name in it or if there's a way that I could
Oh,
return it,
definitely.
I'm absolutely returning a ring. And I think that's
Yeah.
really cool. And I think a couple weeks ago I shared a story where I did that. Have you guys ever returned a ring or found anything that was really cool to bring back to somebody?
I have actually. I was on the beach in Hampton just doing my thing, and a young woman came up to me and told me she lost her ring, and she said it was she didn't know much about it though. She said it wasn't precious metal and that the diamonds weren't real, but when I found it, it rang up as gold. So I kind of felt bad for her. She didn't know what she had for a ring, but I found it, and it's on video if you want to look it up. I believe it's called. The title is "Getting Asked to Find Stuff and Things." I'm like, okay. She said it was what? She said it was silver, had some diamonds on it, and it had a couple crosses on the sides. And I found it, and I was like, okay, I just need to find the girl now. And I went up to her, and I was like, she's like, did you find it? I'm like, I think I did. And she was all excited. It was great.
That's
Great.
awesome.
What about you, Nancy?
No, not yet. But I did lose my favorite earring last year at the beach. And I think it'll be crazy wild if I end up finding it this year.
That would be great.
That's going to be my goal.
Mhm.
Hey, I found your earring at the cornfield, Nancy.
That's true. He did.
I was like, oh.
There's a lot of earrings.
Yeah, I lose them easily.
So All Metal Mike says that he found an 1800s copper, but the owner didn't want it back. So
I guess the owner couldn't talk anymore.
Right.
Couldn't reply to the email.
That's funny.
Well, the way that this is going to go for the next 2 weeks, we may or may not stream, but the 25th is obviously going to be a holiday, Christmas, for all of those that celebrate Christmas here on the panel and here watching the stream. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy New Year to everyone. For all the people who celebrate Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah to everybody. And
Happy Hanukkah.
yeah, and all those, everybody's got their thing, and in our community, I'm sure there are people who celebrate just about everything, and there are people who probably don't celebrate anything. But just want to have well wishes for everybody at the new year. We'll try and see if somebody wants to stream for the new year. I might be out of town just to let everybody know. I'm going to be dropping off my son in New York, so I'll be in New York, and I think New Year's Eve, that area. So just want to say, happy holidays to everybody celebrating whatever you celebrate. We got about another minute left. I don't know if there's any other questions in the chat or any other stories that Stan or Nancy you'd like to share with us. Go right ahead if you'd like to.
I'm just going to jingle my bell here.
You're taunting everybody.
No, I wasn't trying to. Trying to be festive.
No, that's good. That's what it's for. Metal Pirate Girl, I truly love this stream. Thank you for all the great job. You rock.
Hi, Karen.
Yeah.
Thanks,
You do
Karen.
too. You do
Thanks,
too.
Karen.
Yep. Thank you.
Aaron Rock.
Oh, Metal Mike, happy holidays, fellow detectorists. That's awesome. Yeah. So, well, anything for the good of the order, or you think we're all set for today?
It's been great. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Man, our pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. You're welcome to join us at any time. Anytime you want to pop on. If you scroll in the link, I'll send it again. But I do have the link if you want to join us in the after show. All you have to do is click on. Yeah, just come on in. There's still quite a few people here. I'll promise I'll stop the live stream so you won't be live on YouTube. So if no one has anything to share, I'm just looking for the link that I need to stop this live stream.
Just want to say have a great night all and happy
Yes.
holidays to everybody. And thank you for joining us.
Happy
Peace out.
holidays.
Merry Christmas. You rock.
All right, everyone. Join us on the after party. All right, bye.
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 Bye, everybody.
Bye.